Half of the meeting is something that we call table topics, which are impromptu speeches whereby the speakers are unaware of the topic and they are invited to come on stage and to speak based on a topic that is presented to them. And there will be evaluations on that as well. So the model is speeches, evaluations, and that's the model that Toastmasters has adopted and that they believe allows speakers to develop in a friendly environment and to benefit from feedback and from the experience of others. So the agenda is the tool that will help you to understand where our meeting runs tonight. Without further ado, I'm going to call on stage our first speaker. Our first speaker with a speech entitled The Pursuit of Happiness is Amer Assad. Please invite to the stage Amer Assad with a speech entitled The Pursuit of Happiness. Yes.
As Toastmaster, fellow members, and guests. So I'd like to start my talk by recounting a personal experience from over 10 years ago when I was a fresh-faced, rather more fresh-faced than I am right now, graduate from British University. So I just moved back to the city of my birth, Karachi, a bustling metropolis of over 20 million people, and the commercial capital and the largest city of Pakistan, which is where I'm from. And like most metropolitan cities in the developing world, it's comprised of a wide majority of the people who are the have-nots and a small proportion of the haves. I, fortunately for myself, happen to be in the haves. And so here I am in Karachi, driving along, going to meet a friend for lunch, and I'm late, and I'm angry. It's a very hot day. There's not a cloud in the sky. It's 40 degrees Celsius. If you open your window and crack open an egg, it can possibly cook itself. That hot. And I'm late. The weather's not good. I just found out that I've got a 2-1 degree, so I'm not happy about that. I thought I'd get it first. I'm 3 inches shorter than I should be, so genuinely very, very pissed off about life. And amongst all of this, I hear, as I'm lost in my thoughts, I hear a knock on the window, knock, and it gets, louder the next time, another knock, and then a third knock, and then I'm disturbed, so I look behind, and I see this kid who possibly hasn't had a shower in months, wearing ragged clothes, shoes that are torn, barely keeping him from burning his feet, and he's asking me for money. And like most people who live in that city or live in that kind of circumstances, I get pissed off, I get angry at the guy, and I say, I shout expletives. As soon as the traffic light turns green, I drive off. And as I'm driving off, I think to myself, oh, that's not a nice thing to do. I could have been that kid. What's separating me from being that kid? I was just fortunate enough to be born in the right household. That kid could have been born in my place, and I could have been in his place. So the next time I drive around in that place, I start observing that kid. And I see he's generally of a very happy disposition, despite not having a roof over his head, not knowing where he's going to get his next meal from, not wearing proper clothes, not being in school when he's 10, 12 years of age. He's generally a very happy person. And I think to myself, why am I not happy? I mean, I've got everything that you could ask for compared to this kid. This kid would bite my hand off if somebody said, do you want to swap places? Why is this kid happy and why am I not? And then you start thinking to yourself, well, what makes a 29-year-old prince 2,000 years ago go out, leave everything that he's got in his worldly position to seek the truth, and then he ends up becoming Buddha? Why, in 1970s, if you were to ask somebody, do you want to be like Michael Jackson? They would have said, absolutely. He had talent, he had fame, he was possibly more famous than the President of the United States. He had money, he had millions of fans. Why is he not happy? Because years later we find out he tried changing his skin color because he was not happy with how he looked. He tried changing his nose. He died of drug overdose. Why is he not happy? What makes people happy and what makes people unhappy? That's a very basic question. And let's bring it back to us. Why are we most of the time not happy? I mean, most of us are complaining about things all the time. Do you know that if you've got more than $7,000 worth of assets, you're better than 90% of the world's people? Do you know that if you fed 2 proper meals in a day, you're better than half of humanity? If you've got a roof over your head, if you're in relative safety, if you've got relatively good health, we're better than most of humanity, and yet we're always complaining about things. Why? The answer is, it's because we're unhappy about 3 things. Either we're unhappy about our past, so we're unhappy about something that happened to us in the past, where you're constantly recounting that could have happened so and so, or that person was really mean to me, or I really screwed up over there, or you're unhappy about the present. You're not getting what you want, or you're really uncertain about the future. That's it. It's really uncertainty and unhappiness about 3 things. And there's a person that resides with all of us, and that person is our inner voice. If you really think about it, we tell ourselves so many things during the day. We're thinking, on average, 2,000 things a day that we tell ourselves. So that person, most of the time, is telling us really horrible things about ourselves. Yeah, you're not good looking enough. Yeah, you're not fit enough. Yeah, you could be more smart. You could do this better. Or recounting horrible things. Or, oh, the future is so uncertain. You will never become really successful. You will never become Jim Coles. Or that situation would be aggravated. So, if that person was an actual person that came to live with us, we would have thrown that person out inside a day. But yet we allow that person to live with us. We do nothing about that person. So I say, when you're thinking about the past, if you're unhappy about the past, realize that you can't change it. You are whatever you are today in your life because of what has happened. You were shaped by your past. So be proud of it, embrace it. Tell that inner voice, there's nothing that can be done. I'm really happy about what I've got. If you're uncertain about the future, well, be an optimist. Because with everything that life throws at you, there's a downside, but there's also an upside. That's what an optimist is. Being a pessimist won't really change anything. You could be an optimist, and yes, you might not get the results that you really want, but at the end of the day, you will at least be happy for the time period that gets you there. And then finally, with whatever you've got, be content. We're so much better than most of humanity, and we've got so many things to be thankful for that we really should be a lot more happier, a lot more content, and trying to help other people than what we are doing currently. So with that, I'd like to end my speech. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests, and of course, the speaker. I will be evaluating the project number 4, presented by Amir, and entitled The Pursuit of Happiness. First of all, I think the topic is very relevant to all of us. And thank you, Amir, for this good reminder how sometimes we feel very down. We second guess ourselves. We have the sense of entitlement to something more. We don't feel we are particularly realized or particularly happy in the flow of the events. And the solution, suggestion, and just sharing the experience of having such moments in your life, I think it is very important. Because the more tools we have to face such situations, the more equipped we are, and the more content we may feel. Going back to the speech itself, the project number 4 is about how to say it, and it's about using clear, vivid words to organizing and structuring the speech in a very clear way. And I think these goals were definitely achieved by the speaker. Clear structure and the use of language which just painted the picture of really sunny and warm day, which is good to feel and to imagine, especially in the winter. And all of this was really, really good. Maybe what I would suggest to the speaker is to think about movements on stage, because Amir stood really straight in a very confident manner, but still I think, especially describing something happened in the past, some suggestions would be nice. And keeping shoulders a bit straight also looks like a bit restrained. And especially talking about the topic of happiness. If you are more flexible, you are more happy. Maybe it's the only suggestion. And one more single bit. Yes, the topic was really nice and sometimes sensitive, but if you could speak a bit louder for the audience at the back to hear you more, it would be also very good. All the rest was really nice, and thank you for sharing this experience. Thank you for providing the solutions how to tackle the situation in the future. Thank you.